Back in 2015, I was casted as an extra in a big Marvel movie set in Lagos, Nigeria. And on that set, God told me that my husband was going to be Nigerian.
Did you hear when you just moved that maybe he put juju on you to make you come to Nigeria so quickly?
No.
I was just standing there looking at her like, oh my God, this is the woman I'm about to marry.
I was working in the kitchen. I'd never pounded ginger. I've never even... I had never even like shredded ginger or cut nothing. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing.
Wait. So you got married 1 week after your arrival to
After
Nigeria?
I arrived, yep.
Yeah.
After 6 months of online dating?
Yes.
I need some time to process it.
Right after we got married, we traveled to 7 different countries in West Africa by road, traveling through the woods in the bush in Liberia on 3 bikes.
We lived in Cape Coast in Ghana. And then when I saw for the first time what my ancestors went through, I was broken.
The Cape Coast Castle is one of the doors of no return. When they would gather all of the Africans from Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, they were also tortured there. They were chained up there.
How is it like for a man emotionally? Because I know that Naija men don't talk about emotions. To continue this crazy story, please. I don't think I will be able to fall asleep. I will be just analyzing our story. How on earth is this possible? What happens when 2 cultures, 2 continents, and 2 families fall in love? You get drama, you get joy, you get challenges, you get wahala. And sometimes that wahala is incredibly sweet. Welcome to our Sweet Wahala. My name is Natalia Mufutau, and each week I sit down with Nigerians and their partners from across the globe to talk about everything, from in-law drama to the powerful love that holds it all together. Let's dive into today's story. My name is Natalia Mufutau, aka Naija Wifey, and today my special guests are Dominique from the USA and David, first Delta man that I'm hosting. So I'm very, very excited. Welcome, guys.
Robo Wado. Yeah, how y'all doing?
We have some 2 special guests. We will hear them in the background, but the parents said they are the content creators, so the kids are used to the camera. So at this point, I normally do the quiz to know how much does the couple know about each other's culture. This time around, I will start with the questions and then we will leave the quiz at the end. So please put in the comment section if this is a better option for you or not. But first of all, how have you guys met?
Okay, we met on Instagram. I had already been deciding on a country that I wanted to live in Africa because I wanted to leave the US. And so it was between Lagos and Johannesburg. And so I had been on Instagram and I was just going through some pictures. Now you go to the location and you can put the location in and then it'll come up with all the stuff. So that was like my way of doing research. And so I was in Lagos just liking pictures and ended up liking his picture and it went from there.
So basically, she liked my picture, and then I was at work that day because I worked in Eco Atlantic. So I was a security supervisor of the towers, and then I took a picture at work that day and posted it on Instagram, and then she liked it, and I was like, "Who is this beautiful lady liking my picture?" So I went to her profile. I was looking at her profile. Oh my God, she's fine, man. What's happening? And I got in a DM, and yeah,
Slid in a DM and I saw it at first. I actually followed him initially, sent a message, but I just didn't respond right away because I had already heard about the Nigerian man. So I was like, I'm not even going to try that right now. And so he stayed in there for like 3 days. And then
I was praying, God, please.
and then on the 3rd day, I don't know, something in me just made me feel like, okay, maybe I should just see what he's about and just see where it goes. And I guess the rest is history.
David, was it difficult to get to Dominique's heart? Because if she had this kind of prejudice about Nigerians, how was this getting to her?
It was a little to her heart, I'll say, because she had these boundaries, this wall set up like, oh, Nigeria, some type of way. But then again, I just made her comfortable. and I wasn't in no rush because for me, as much as I liked her profile, I didn't want to come from a place of desperation because I wasn't desperate at that time. I was pretty comfortable. I did okay for myself. So I seeing her like my picture out there, I was like, okay, this is not just regular because Americans kind of come to my profile, but not just like this. So for me, I just told her that she shouldn't worry about anything, that time will reveal true intentions. Like this is what it is for her. It will reveal itself with time. So yeah, that was it for me. I wasn't there was no pressure.
And I have
But
to preface because back in 2015, I was casted as an extra in a big Marvel movie where they were set in Lagos, Nigeria. And so I played a Nigerian as a background actor,
oh
basically.
wow.
And on that set, I actually became friends with another Nigerian. And on that set, God told me that my husband was going to be Nigerian. So when he came around, I already knew that my husband was going to be Nigerian. Now, it wasn't necessarily at the forefront of my mind at that time. God had to remind me again after we started courting, but that was the preference. And it wasn't just so much as I was just, oh, Nigerian men. No, it was kind of like all men at that point. I was in a place where I was growing my relationship with Christ, and I just didn't want to get involved with anything extra.
You were just careful, I understand. So how many years was between you playing the Nigerian in the Marvel movie and you actually contacting David?
So I did that in 2015. We got married in 2020. So about 5 years.
That was 5 years later.
So you tried to be together, and I'm just assuming that it was maybe difficult for David to get the visa. That's the reason you guys moved to Rwanda, or what's the story behind that?
Basically, I had already planned on leaving the US. So I had already planned to move to Nigeria. So we courted for about 6 months long distance, and then I moved to Nigeria. I
Wow,
left everything in the
6
US. We
months.
got
Ah,
married.
she really
Yeah, we
must
got
have loved
married,
you
and
there.
then we
That look, that for me was the breaking point. That for me was where I was like, you know what? I'm not leaving this woman for anything. To send everything she had in the US and come to Nigeria was amazing. I've never seen that happen before. So that for
Oh
yeah.
me
my
was a big
goodness.
one for me.
So you said that after 6 months, you left the US and you went to live to Nigeria. So at this point, you have not seen David face to face yet, or have you?
No, in between that 6 month period that we were on the phone, I hadn't traveled to Nigeria. As a matter of fact, I never even traveled out of the.
Oh
I
wow.
didn't even have a passport yet. I got my passport. What? As a matter of fact, I think I applied maybe 3 months into us courting,
Yeah.
and then my passport didn't come until a month before I was even supposed to leave.
Wow. So you are a brave woman. I
Yeah.
have to give it to you.
She was very brave and adventurous, which was interesting to me.
Did you hear when you just moved that maybe he put juju on you to make you come to Nigeria so quickly?
No, no, never. Because it was already my intentions to come to Nigeria. So if it didn't work
Wow.
out with me and him, I would have still been in Nigeria, like living my life.
Wow. Wow. Fit for you as a Nigerian man. How does it sound that if not you, she will manage anyway?
Nah. Look, there was no hard feelings for me because in Nigeria, man, we have different approaches. I would say some of us have the wanted and all that, but a few others of us, we have a different approach to life. So if it wasn't going to work out for me, I was still going to be there to help out through the process. If it didn't work out in relationship or marriage, I would have probably helped out, enjoy Nigeria, have a good time, and settle in if that's what she wanted to do. But when I discovered that she was going to be my wife, I was like, oh no, this lady, this woman is not going anywhere else again. No man is coming close.
So what is it like to meet
Yeah.
someone that you have never seen before? What kind of expectations do you have before the meeting?
We started talking on phone and doing video calls and getting to know each other over that 6 months. And when she came in person, it was like a dream come true for me because
Mm.
that's the first time any woman, aside my mother, ever went all out for me. I've been in relationships with Nigerian women. They're amazing people. Nigerian women are one of a kind type of women too. But then again, not
Yeah.
so much have I seen a woman like go all the way out to be with me. It's always been like I'm the one doing a lot to make sure that the relationship works. But for this case, I was so happy. And yeah, it was a dream come true for me. I was so happy, and it was a learning process too.
For me, it wasn't my first time having a long distance relationship. It was my first time with someone being out of the country, but I've had long distance relationships in like other states.
I'm actually really curious because I don't know if I would have courage to have a 6 months long relationship, then fly to Nigeria from the comfort of my house in the US and then meet the guy that I have never seen and hearing about so much, all this stuff about the Nigerian men and so on. So how was it?
We are very God led people. We both have a relationship with Christ. I had just kind of started my relationship with Christ. I just gotten baptized maybe a year before that. And it was more so just about hearing from God about our relationship. Like I said before, when I was on set, God had already told me that my husband was going to be Nigerian. He had his own confirmation on his side that me, I still wasn't too sure about it, but I was praying about it like, God, please let me know if this is it. And we also, during that 6 month period, we did a fast together. So we did what was it, 3 days?
Yeah, we did a 3 day fast
Yeah,
together.
we
And
did a
we
3 days.
prayed about the whole relationship.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
before that was when I got my confirmation. So 2 weeks into talking with her, I'm from a home of pastors. My mom and dad are pastors, right? They preach the gospel. 2 weeks into talking with her, my dad asked me to come back to the house. I'm like, is anything a problem? Because I wasn't staying with them. My dad wasn't living with them at that time. I had gotten my own place. I was on my own for a couple of years before then. But he asked me to come back, that he wanted to see me. So I had to travel all the way back to the house, took off time from work, and went back to go see him because he said he couldn't tell me what he wanted to tell me on the phone. So when I got there, he was like, yeah, I called you back because I had a dream, and in that dream, a young, beautiful girl came from the US, and you both got married, and the marriage was so beautiful. I'm like, are you serious about this, Dad? And mind you, my dad has never had that kind of dream ever. Like, he doesn't really talk about me and marriage and ever. So I'm like, are you serious, Father? He said, yes. I said, this person you're talking about, we only met 2 weeks ago. As a matter of fact, we just only started really talking for a week or some days. He was like, can I see a picture? So when I showed him her picture, he was like, yes, that's your wife. So I didn't tell this to her. I didn't show it to her until she came back, until she came to Nigeria.
Yeah.
I just kept it within myself and started like building the relationship, knowing that, okay, this is going to be my wife. So it's time to like focus.
And after that period, I had already noticed a shift in his attitude because I would say something to him like, what's going on? You are acting like something that I don't know. Like, what's happening? And so he would always just say in due time, or, you'll find out soon enough, or, God will tell, or just giving these little kind of hints. And I believe it was maybe about another month or so after that I finally heard from God to say, okay, this is your husband. This is him. It's okay. You can let your guard down. Like, this is him.
And you went all in.
Yeah.
She did go all in, man. Yeah.
Please take us back to this very moment when you saw each other for the first time. Do you still remember?
um,
Oh my God.
yeah, we remember. We have it on our YouTube channel actually. I mean, it was just more so like finally we had been talking for about 6 months, and we really felt like we knew each other already, and we had spent more time with each other. Even now, like, we're about to be married for 5 years in December,
Mhm.
and it feels like we've known each other forever.
All our life, right?
I
But
have
yeah,
the
for
same
me,
feeling, I
that
have to say. It resonates with me, yeah.
Yeah.
right? For me, that day, seeing her at the airport, I was blown at first. It's no longer like a conversation over the phone. You're here, yeah, right now. And when we got back to the house, I was just watching her sleep all night. I was just looking at her on bed. I'm like, oh my God, this really happened.
Was it
But
easy
yeah,
to fall asleep, like knowing that there is a man that you know, but you don't know somehow next to you? How did you feel like?
To be honest, I trusted God the whole process. It wasn't even about him. I trusted God the whole process because mind you, after right after we got married, even after that, we traveled to 7 different countries in
mhm,
West Africa by road. So I also had to put my trust in him to keep me safe during that time. And
mhm,
when I say I had to trust him to keep me safe, we had some situations during that travel period, traveling through the woods in the bush in Liberia on 3 bikes, and it's our suitcases and this us, and we traveling through on bike where they have baboon attacks and stuff like that, and I was not worried at all during this whole process. I mean, I was having a ball. So
Let
I trusted God.
Yeah, I now I believe you when you say you trust the God. Now I got all the indicators that you truly do. But before we go into the traveling, I wanted to ask what were your first days like in Nigeria?
For me in Nigeria, it was something to get used to at first because, especially with the food, I don't eat spicy food. So that
yeah,
was like the biggest thing to get over. When I first came, we actually had an Airbnb maybe for, I think, the first 2 weeks or so. And close by the Airbnb, there was this little local shop where they sold grilled fish, and I saw how they were putting all the pepe. They were plastering it on the fish. And so I told this guy when he was making my fish, I said, please, no pepe, no pepe. Even my husband, because at that time I wasn't too good with my pigeon. And so my husband even had to tell him, like, guy, I beg no pepper on this thing. When they finally gave us the fish, it was as if the man put extra pepper just to be spiteful. And, Nigerians, they have this culture of like accepting things, but I'm from the US and you're going to give me what I paid for. And if I told you no pepper, because I told him 5 times, no pepper, then you're gonna give me my food with no pepper. And so I ended up having to take it back, and like it was a whole thing. My husband saw my whole character that day.
for me, that was the first time. That was the first time I ever saw her go out of character, like go out on somebody. Like I was just standing there looking at her, like, oh my god, this is the woman I'm about to marry.
But this
Because
happened during the
we were,
first week since you arrived, Dominique?
yeah, during the first couple of days, like 3 days.
Yes, like the first couple of days exactly.
I like it.
So
I
I was
really like
like,
it.
she was when I tell you she was going all out on the manager, like, I'm American, I can take this. I ain't trying to take this prep. Like, are you
No,
trying to
and
kill
you're
me?
going to
I
give me
just
the
came into
food
this
I paid
country, and then you're
for.
trying to feed me with food with spice. I don't eat spice. What? And for we have this thing of whatever they give to us. Sometimes we be like, okay, it's fine. Let's just eat it and let it just go past, just to not
Yeah.
make a fuss about it. The scene that made me actually appreciate the type of person she was, because it was interesting for me to see somebody different do things differently than I would.
And he gave me another fish. I didn't have to pay for it. He gave me another fish with no pepper, and it was fine. So that was like the
Wow.
biggest thing for me at first. Also, when I first came to his parents' house, I don't know if this was after we got married, but I was working in the kitchen. They had me working in the kitchen. And now, mind you, as a Black American raised in the South, right? That is something that is in our culture. Like, if there's women in the kitchen, you better believe you're going to be put to work. But for me, it was a bit different because I had just never really experienced that like that. Because when my grandparents was in the kitchen cooking and stuff like that, we as a kid would be sent outside. And so now as an adult, I had
Ah.
never experienced that, being called into the kitchen to help. So that was like one of the things. I was pounding ginger. Okay. I'd never pounded ginger. I've never even I had never even like shredded ginger or cut nothing. I was in there pounding ginger. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing.
But David, so it means your mom was really testing her because it was a test for if you are a good wife for David or not. So
Yeah,
apparently you have
yeah,
trust.
yeah. I knew what was happening at that point, and I knew my mom was trying to, trying to see if she was going to overreact or see if she was going to say she can't do it. But she took it like a pro. She did it, pounded it smooth and blend. And my mother also, she's not like an antagonist, so she's not the type of person that would just want to piss you off for nothing. She doesn't like do all that stuff. So she was just basically allowing her have fun with it. Like she was like, "Oh, do the way you know how to do it. Don't worry about it. Just anywhere you can do it." Just
Yeah, she wasn't like complaining because
she
I didn't
wasn't.
know what to do or I didn't
No,
know how
no,
to make
no.
it like, nice and smooth and everything like that.
It was actually during the Christmas. So every household in Nigeria in Christmas we always celebrate. So everybody like was
Mm,
like making food that we're making food that everybody was gonna have on Christmas
a lot
Day,
of
and
food.
yeah,
Dominic, can you take us back to the time when you met your family in-law for the first time? How was it like?
It was so amazing because, okay, I after I knew about getting married to Nigerian and all this stuff, I had already peeked into like African culture and I was really into like Nollywood and all the things. And I was doing my research. What is it like to marry a Nigerian man and all these different things, YouTube search and stuff. So I kept hearing about the moms and having to deal with the moms. And that
Ah,
was a really big concern of mine. Not really, because I had already spoken to his mom. So I already knew that she had already loved me and taken me in as her own daughter. But it was just one of those things like, okay, I'm still trying to understand what is this really going to be like? What is this dynamic going to be like? And but when I got there, it was just as if, like I said, as if I was her daughter. She just took me right on in, and it was just, yeah, I love her. Like she's my own mom. They're my family. All of his family took me in and just was very excited to meet me, and it has always been a really good experience.
but have you learned some words just to greet them? Like, I believe you have
Yes,
prepared yourself somehow.
yes, we have to say Migwa.
yeah, yeah, Vendu.
So it means that it's like kneeling. I'm kneeling, or I'm on my knees,
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, yeah. I'm on my knees. That's what it means. It
I
means
just knew that was the greeting, but that was also, I know, like in some cultures, like you have to prostrate for the elders and stuff. And so that was one thing I told him. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable doing that. I don't know if
Mm.
I'll be able to kind of prostrate and kneel down.
I was going
Mm.
to Nigeria not knowing if she gonna accept me as a wife or not, because apparently if she won't, then it's the end of my relationship. It's very good that you established the relationship with your mother-in-law. That's a very good strategy. You have a very wise wife, David. This is
I know.
women that are listening to us. So I always advise that the best way is to get to understand your husband to be, or like to get to his heart, is to have a good relationship with the mother or with the sister.
Yes. And
So,
I actually learned that in my research when I was doing all the YouTube,
Hmm.
watching all the YouTube videos and stuff.
okay.
Look, I told her after we met the first time, and we started cutting, like when it was close to when it was time for her to come. I told her that, look, I'm the last in my house, and I'm the last out of seven. So I told her that my mom, she's my love, right? I don't play with my mom. So the only way to be able to do this is if she can love my mom the way she loves me. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm the type of man that will put my mother before my wife. No, my wife comes first in everything and everything that concerns me. However, I love my mom so much, and I would also take her like into consideration in any situation that is happening. So I was so happy to see that my mother loved her the same way she loved me, and she loved my mother the same way she loved me. Like when I saw their relationship growing, I was
Mm.
so happy because I knew that that was less burden for me. It was going to be less stressful for me. You know.
Mm.
And the dynamic between his mother and I really progressed when we came back from our travels, and we were living in Delta State with his parents for a bit. And I had always had issues with my menstrual cycle, and
Mhm.
pain, having like really bad pain and stuff like that. And actually, before all of this, I had been diagnosed with PCOS at the age of 19. So I was
Mhm.
even told that I wasn't going to be able to have children on my own, and just dealing with all of that stuff. And so there was this period where I was just having some really bad pains, and I just was going through it, and I'm falling on the floor. And his mom, I was hurting so bad, and I just wanted, at that time, I just wanted some comfort. And she just let me lay on her head and let me lay my head on her lap, and she just was praying
Aw.
over me, and she was comforting me and praying over my womb. And in fact, it was even after that that I got pregnant with our daughter. So
Ah, so the
Mhm.
mother-in-law touch. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Mother's magic. Mother's prayers. Yeah, I'll say that.
So you said that you have rented Airbnb in Lagos, and then how long have you stayed in Nigeria before you guys started traveling?
About 2 weeks. We thought about staying there, getting a place and all of the things, but we were just like, you know what? We don't have kids. We have an opportunity to kind of just live. And I also was interested in traveling around Africa, because I was still trying to figure out what country I really wanted to live in.
Mm.
And he was okay and down with traveling. So like, okay, let's go.
Oh my goodness. I'm really dying to hear the story. I'm really dying. Did you think about it, about this traveling before? It was like a new idea?
It was something that I
Uh,
considered when I before I had got there, because like I said, I had already had plans on leaving the US. And so because he didn't need a visa to travel
visa
through
for
West
ECOWAS,
Africa,
yeah.
we just thought that it was the perfect kind of segue. And we were just like, hey, why not do it by road? I don't know. Honestly, y'all, it just happened. Like,
I have a feeling that it was Dominic that kind of influenced your decision,
it,
David.
it definitely was her. Trust me, I agree with you on that. It definitely was her, right? But when it happened was one day we were in the house and it was like on December the 20th, because she came on the 12th, and we stayed till like right after Christmas. So on the 26th, we were just like, she was like, you're
we
like
got married on
we
the
go
19th. I came on the 12th. We got married on the 19th. And
Wait, wait,
then
wait, wait,
after
stay.
because we skipped that part. Wait, wait. You got married. I'm sorry. So you got married 1 week after your arrival to
after I
Nigeria,
arrived. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
after 6 months
Yep.
Yes.
of online dating.
Yep.
Yes.
Ah,
What is it?
I need some time. I need some time to process it.
I know, right?
Wow.
Look, look.
Oh wow. Okay. But I did
Tell me
not ask
about
you, Dominic, about your family. So back in the US, what were their comments about all this?
So I actually brought my family in from the jump, from the very beginning. Once we kind of made our decision to say, okay, we are going to move toward marriage. Um, I brought my family in. My he was in our family group chat. They
Hmm.
all was talking to him. My family is very close, and they were going to grill him. Okay, they were going to like, look, who are you? What you want with my sister? Because she's coming to Nigeria. We will get passports and be in Nigeria if anything happened. Like they had to, they kind of had to let him know.
Was
So,
getting confirmant? Yes. Yeah. This kind of
yeah.
person.
So he was in the group, the family group chat, and was introduced very early on.
yeah,
Wow.
for me, I was already ready to, to be her husband, not just be her husband, but protect her, and provide for her, and the family. So I didn't it didn't face me out when I saw the family, like some people that would be scared like that. I was like, what's up, people? How you doing? Was that because they were like, okay, he's a good guy. Okay, we might be able to vibe it. And yeah, we had a beautiful startup, same thing I did with mine. I introduced that to my mom and dad earlier on. I didn't wait for it to be a case of when she came to the Nigeria. That's when she
Right.
met, like from the moment we started talking, and I knew it was going to be this way. As a matter of fact, after my dad told me about that, I gave it another 1 month or two, and then I went ahead to like introduce her to them, and
The siblings.
my siblings, and they all started talking.
Hmm.
So yeah, we got the family thing moving
Yeah.
first
And
quickly.
we all were friends on Facebook, and we just kind of integrated kind of just automatically. My family started talking to his
Mhm.
family. His siblings would reach out to my siblings and different things to try to get to know each other and stuff and make sure, okay, that we knew
Wow.
what we were doing and that this was something that, we really wanted to do. So yeah, they were integrated very early on.
So, David, did you pay the bride price to Dominic's family?
He's still paying. No.
Okay. Okay. Can we know more about that?
No, just play.
Yeah, yeah, and also as a matter of fact, even now that we're about to get married again, I still have a bride price ready for our father, so I'm still ready to pay again. Like, sir, I would love to marry your daughter again for another however long. This is a bride price for her.
Yeah, we're actually planning our vow renewal because when we did get married, we did our court marriage and then we
Mm.
did our it wasn't really like traditional, but we had on our traditional attire, so that was considered our traditional wedding. But we skipped the white wedding. And so now that we're
Mm.
both here in the US, we are actually planning our white wedding for our 5-year anniversary, which is going to
Mhm.
be like our vow renewal. So that's kind of what we're
I
planning
saw it
now.
that it will be in December this year. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Wow. We are all excited for you guys.
Yes.
Oh
Thank
yes, thank you
you.
very much. Thank you very much.
So, to continue this crazy story, please, because I don't think I will be able to fall asleep. I will be just analyzing our podcast
Yeah.
and this story. How is this? How on earth is this possible? But anyway,
Mhm.
so you guys got married, and then Dominique pursued you into traveling through Africa. So how did
Yeah. So apparently we had this conversation, in our apartment, or in where we were in Nigeria before we left, and she was like, yeah, she loves it here. She would get a house and this and that, and I'm like, okay, as much as I wanted us to get a house or stay, I also was interested in learning her because I felt like getting married and the whole excitement of the whole environment was good. But then again, I wanted to learn her in a place where there was no influence around, no family influence, just
Mm.
me and her. I wanted us to learn each other. So I said the best thing we could do was to just hit the road and travel, right? And I agreed with what she was saying. I'm like, okay, let's go. So she was skeptical about being safe and all that. And I'm like, what's there to be worried about? I've stayed in the most, as as we will say it, if as a Nigerian you have the mental capacity to survive anywhere in this earth,
That for
if you
sure.
know your
Yeah, yeah,
strength,
yeah.
right? So I'm like, there's nothing that can face me out that I've not seen. And coming from a guy that schooled in University of Benin, I wasn't really bothered about anything that will happen because I know I've
Mm.
seen it all. So yeah, we hit the road and that was it. We left from Nigeria, went to Togo,
We went to Cotonou,
we went to
Benin
Cotonou, Benin.
Republic. Yeah.
We stayed in
Mm.
Benin Republic for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
I got malaria.
she had oh my god, the malaria experience. Oh my god. She had malaria for the first time. And for me, I don't
I
know at
thought I was
first.
dying.
I was thinking that she was
I can
what was
imagine.
happening. So when I saw that she was throwing up and when I saw that she had this rise in temperature,
And for sure,
I immediately knew that it was malaria. So I ran to the pharmacy, and in Benin they spoke French. So I didn't know how to
Oh.
speak French. Yeah, I didn't know how to speak French, so I just went to the pharmacy. I said that I needed an English interpreter. They said they didn't have one, so I just had to do sign language. I said my wife, mosquito, mosquito, drug, and they were like, oh, malaria, malaria. So they gave me something for malaria, and then I rushed back home and gave her the medications and some food, and she ate, and she it almost felt like back up again, like in space of like
Yeah,
some minutes.
almost. It was almost instant. Yeah, that malaria medicine in Africa is amazing. I
Hmm.
mean, it
Yeah, I
works
don't
like
know what
that.
they put in there, but I do agree. Yes, yes, it works. Because normally, if you get malaria in outside of Africa, then you get quarantine. They will keep you under the quarantine for I don't God knows how long and so on.
Mhm.
But in Africa, it is somehow I don't know. It's yeah,
Yes, you just take some pills and you're good to
yeah.
go. Even before I left, they were telling me like, "Hey, don't worry about the malaria medicine over here. You don't have to bring it over there. Just take the
Mm-hmm.
ones they have over there. It'll save your life." But yeah, we went to Cotonou. So we went to Benin Republic. I experienced my birthday there. My birthday is January 7th. So we stayed there throughout New Year's and throughout my birthday. And then we went on to Togo. We went to Ghana. We stayed in Ghana for 3 months.
Ghana was beautiful.
Yeah, we stayed in Ghana for 3 months because it was. I think we resonated more with the environment there, so it was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just kind of wanted to stay there a bit longer. Um, so we stayed there. We actually met another American that had been living there, who was dating a Ghanaian, and they had a child together. And so we actually met with a lot
A
of
lot of people. I was
Black
about to say,
Americans that had
mm,
moved to Ghana. And it was
Mm.
a good experience. He already had some friends that were in Ghana. So yeah, we stayed there for a bit and then we kept on going up to Sierra Leone, where we spent another 3 months in
so from
Sierra Leone.
Ghana, we went to Ivory Coast.
Yeah,
Wow.
We
Ivory
went to
Coast,
Liberia.
Liberia.
From
Mhm,
Liberia, then we went to Sierra Leone and
mhm.
stayed in Sierra Leone for another 3 months.
Yeah, and when we got to Sierra Leone now, there's kind of like also a story behind that because um, as Black Americans, we don't have a direct link to our culture. My sister, she had gotten our maternal ancestry done. And crazy enough, when we were crossing over the border in Sierra Leone, I immediately felt at home. I felt like this is home. And I think it was either later that night, that same day or the next day or something like that. My sister had gotten her results, and come to find out, our maternal ancestry is from the Timni tribe of Sierra Leone. And so
Wow.
we decided to stay there for a few months. We actually got invited from a couple that we met in Ghana, a Sierra Leonean and a Zimbabwean couple,
Mhm.
and we got invited. They lived in Sierra Leone and hosted an Airbnb. We stayed with them for a bit, and it was just it was just an amazing experience. And then we came back to Nigeria from there.
But that's a question for David. So, was this the first time of you traveling around Africa?
Yeah, it was the first time. It
So,
was
so
my
for
first
you
time.
as a Nigerian, like what cultural shocks did you have? Because we are normally talking about, the other parts having a cultural shock. But what about you?
So for me, it was more so seeing other Africans, doing so well for themselves, and building like a system that was working for them. Like being in Nigeria all my life, we have always been taught about Nigeria being the giant of Africa. Nigeria is this, Nigeria is this. Almost like Nigeria is the best country in
Mm,
Africa. But come to find out that there were other beautiful systems that were working, like being in Togo. I'd been to the border of Benin, but not into Benin at that time. But yeah, being to Benin, seeing how things were working,
Seeing that they have
seeing that
light.
they had light, they had better systems. As a matter of fact, our American card couldn't work in Nigeria,
Right.
but it was working in Benin.
And
It
all
was
the
in
other
all the
countries.
other countries. It was working.
Yep.
You know,
I actually had the Wise card. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but they have like where you can actually you have your American account and then you can like hold money in other currencies
currency.
or even open different accounts like an account in euros and stuff like that. So I had that card and it did not work in Nigeria, although I could I could exchange my money in naira and I could hold money in naira, but the naira it just didn't work, and they did not allow any of my cards to be used, fraud and all that. But any other place, it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. And for the most part, the biggest cultural shock I ever had was coming to learn about slavery, because I never like went deep into learning about that. When I got to Ghana and I saw we went
Because
to
we
Cape
lived in
Coast,
Cape Coast.
we lived in Cape Coast in Ghana, and then when I saw for the first time what my ancestors went through, I was broken. I
We
was
were like steps away from the Cape Coast dungeon.
what they call
They
Cape
call it a
Castle.
Cape Coast Castle, but it's a dungeon.
So we were like, we went in there, saw everything that happened, saw it for the
But
first time,
what
and
exactly happened?
The Cape Coast Castle, as they call it, is one of the doors of no return. So when they would gather all of the Africans from Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, they would bring them to Cape. One of the places that they would sail over to the New World or America would be on the coast of Cape of this where this castle is. And so that Cape Coast Castle is a historical place where slaves were sent over from Africa to the Americas. Let me just say, because they were spread out. And so within that, there's a lot of history because, mind you, they were also tortured there, they were chained up there. Because we also visited one of the slave museums in Benin, no, in Badagry,
in Badagry, and then in Benin, in Port Novo in Benin.
and also in Porto Novo, yeah. And so, on the African continent, I think that they don't really have a full understanding of slavery the way that we do as Black Americans, because they're still tied to their culture, all of that, and they didn't have to go through like the separation and segregation and Jim Crow and all the different things that lie in American history, with Black Americans. So he had an experience of what slavery was kind of really like firsthand, because like I said, we were visiting these places, like as a matter of fact, for the Cape Coast dungeon, because I'm a very empathetic type of person, I can feel certain things when I go certain places, and I never wanted to go inside of the Cape Coast Castle. We would always There was this spot that we liked to go behind the castle where we could watch the sunset and see the rocks and see the ocean. We both love the ocean, so we loved the view, and we liked this little spot. So that was kind of like our little hangout. And we didn't really want to go inside because even outside of the place, even on the rocks, you could feel the burden, of all of the people that was
Of
that
generations
was
past.
that was brought in and out of that place.
Of generations
know?
past.
And so it was one of those things that it was just it really hit him hard, honestly, because it was even a shock for me to see how he handled it. Yeah.
So how did you handle it, David?
Yeah. Okay, so when I found
That
it
put
out,
you out?
when I found it out, we were in a restaurant right close to the location. So I left where she was sitting, and everything just played through my head. And I went to the restroom, and I was in tears. Right, I was broken. because for me it was the first time getting to see all those things firsthand, like seeing it, the way they explained it in Nigeria, it was almost like, oh, it was just some people. But seeing the numbers that I saw on the Cape Castle, like on the record, it was way, way, way more than some people. It was people in millions. And seeing that number of people and then coming to experience that right at the top of where the dungeon was, there was a chapel at the top.
Mhm.
So, and the first ever like the first ever chapel to be brought the Cape to the Cape um coast was right around that close to that area. So I was like,
So basically, like in the in the dungeon, they they had the area where they kept the slaves, right? Right above that was where they held church. Mind you, he's coming from a Christian background, also. Yeah, I mean, very Christian, as in both his parents are pastors and they own a church. So also understanding, how Christianity played a part in the slave trade also kind of hit him. So it was, understanding the slave trade from a Black American's point of view, because I would always pour history into him from what I knew as well. And then also, being on the continent, traveling to different African countries. Now we've experienced some of the historical places that were involved in the slave trade, and then now understanding, or coming to a consensus of what how Christianity played a part in the slave trade, and all of that kind of, it just all kind of hit him at that moment, and
But
it
what
just,
was the role of this chapel in this whole, whole system?
so it's literally that they would hold church while having tortured slaves that literally had cast iron collars around their necks. They were holding church right above those people. So imagine you go into a church, but underneath them, they're holding people hostage. They've tortured people and they're holding them hostage. Can you imagine a church that has people that they are hurting like cattle? They have tortured them. They have taken them from their homeland, kings and queens and chiefs, and not just regular village people, like they've taken all of these people and they've displaced them from their homeland. And while these people underneath them are feeling scared, vulnerable,
mm.
uncertainty, pain, they're up there rejoicing, having a good old time praising God.
So that was what like broke me down. She was looking for me everywhere in the
Hmm.
restaurant, didn't find me. I came to find me in the restroom. I was just there sitting on the floor. Like I was like, oh, we were lied to, and but then again, after all that, I was able to come out of it knowing that,
Mhm.
you know, you know, we
But we've learned, yeah, because we learned a lot of stuff on the way. Like I said, from my own experience as a Black American, what I know about the slave trade, I was able to educate him, and
Hmm.
we, like I said, throughout our travels, we've been able to, talk to different people. We've met a lot of Black Americans that have moved to the continent. So they also bring their knowledge. And so we kind of just have been growing since.
Mhm.
But for those, because that's actually like I knew it existed, but I've
Mhm,
never really like was interested in a way to get to know about it more, because we study about it at school and
mhm.
later, during at the university as well as the basic history. But for those who would like to get to know more about the slavery, is there any resources that you would recommend to check?
I would say, if you really want to know, because a lot of the stuff that they put in textbooks is a little watered down.
Mm,
It doesn't really tell the extremity of how it actually happened, and they'll tell you, oh, they were domestic workers. Like, it's some textbooks now that they're literally calling them domestic workers. Like, no, you stole me. Like, you
mm,
stole me from my people, my land. And so it's a little bit watered down. Um and also I also feel like, they try to kind of push it as like, oh, Christianity had a part in it. And yes, they used Christianity as a way to justify it, but um Christianity was in Africa way before
They
all of
came.
this
mm,
happened.
Yeah.
So I would say that if you really want to learn about it, the best way is to visit some of these places. We actually have a African travel agency that is tailored to African countries, and
mhm,
you can easily go on a tour through these different areas or these different places, because all along the coast of West Africa, they have these different points of no return. They have one in Benin, they have one in Ghana, they have one in Sierra
Sierra
Leone.
Leone.
As a matter of fact, in Sierra Leone, they have a whole island that they used as where they bought slaves before they shipped them out. So there's a lot of history everywhere. Nigeria has a museum. They also have a similar point of no return. So yeah, just tell every especially Black Americans, because for me as a Black American, traveling to Africa, a country in Africa, or even just traveling around, to different African countries, it really opened my eyes to my own identity, and it really helped me understand a lot. And
mm.
so I always definitely push for Black Americans to go to Africa at least once in your life. It doesn't have to be a situation where it's like, oh, I'm gonna move there now, or but
Mhm.
definitely you have to visit. You
Go
have to
visit.
visit.
Go see
Yeah.
what it's like.
Wow, that's so powerful. So now, oh, it's so difficult to move from this topic to another topic, but yeah, we have to move
Yeah.
on. So we
Mhm.
have to talk about the fun stuff as well. So you mentioned some riding on the motorbikes through Sierra Leone, was it, or like with the luggage
Liberia.
on the bike?
um.
Take us,
Yeah.
take us to Sierra
Yeah.
Leone with you
It,
guys, please.
it was an experience for her, but it was fun for her because for one, she's it's not something she was used to, all
It's
those
not
times.
something that I would do
It's
in the
not
U.S.
something that she would do in the US because in the US it's more risky. Coming out here to see it, I wouldn't advise anybody to do it. But then again, in Liberia, so here's what happened. As we traveled through from Ivory Coast, about to enter into Liberia, we found out that the Burkina Faso route into Sierra Leone was not going to be
They was
good
going
for
through
us.
conflict
They
or
were going
something
through
like that.
conflict, so the
Mm,
border guys asked us to go through Ivory Coast route instead of the Burkina Faso route. So the only way we could go that day through the Ivory Coast route was to go through a shortcut from Danane through like a 2 hours bush path, like what I mean, like
Through the
forest path
bush.
through a bush into Liberia, into the border of Liberia. So we went from
So once we got over into, well, excuse me, we were about to cross over the border into Liberia. We got to the immigration office, and they were very interested in our story. My husband also makes music, so they were also interested in him. They even asked him to do a performance. Like, it was just all kind of stuff. And so you also know, like, with being in Africa, sometimes you have to deal with extortion and, people trying to get
mm,
money from you. So they were trying to get money from us, me being American and all this stuff like that. And so um we ended up kind of we ended up kind of going through the process, and finally they were like, okay, well, we're gonna let y'all go. And for whatever reason, they gave us a police escort.
So
Ooh.
I would say those guys are amazing people, because in my where I come from, extortion is extortion. It's not something fun, especially when you are the one paying. But
Mm.
The Liberian guys didn't like majorly extort us. It
Mhm.
was almost like, okay, we are paying for us to protect you through this part so that you don't get extorted from other people, because not only did they give us like a police officer to escort us up until from the border up until we got
Morovia,
to Morovia.
which is the capital.
They gave us a police officer and an immigration officer, and the immigration officer and the police officer rode on their bikes. So they literally carried us from the border to where we got to our destination.
Mhm.
So they didn't like leave us alone to like be robbed or anything like that. They protected us. They stayed with us. They had a good.
Because when you hear that story, they knew we were traveling by road and
Yeah.
everything like that. And then also along the way, there were like certain like I think they had they said about 20 something checkpoints or something like that. And they
Hmm.
probably would have asked us for money at each one. So they were like, yeah, we're gonna help y'all get through to where y'all need to go.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they gave us that escort. We had to travel through the bush. Um
Yep.
it was a pretty long ride. It was a pretty long
It was
ride.
some beautiful mountains.
Yeah, we even had to stop. We even had to stop and like stay overnight at a hotel somewhere. I don't even remember where we were.
Yeah, we were in Monrovia at that time. We are
It
talking.
wasn't in Monrovia. We was somewhere else. This is before we
Oh
got
yeah,
the
yeah,
blue
yeah, yeah, yeah,
restaurant.
yeah. This was it was a location before Monrovia. It was a
Yeah,
place before
because
Monrovia.
we were traveling like it was about to be nighttime, and so they were like, "Well, we don't want to be traveling through at night," so we stopped
We stopped
somewhere
somewhere,
and
stayed in the hotel.
we
We
got a
got a
hotel.
hotel.
We ate with them. They ate with us. We were sharing stories and all kind of stuff, and
We got a room for them. So they were
yeah.
in another room and we were in our own room.
Mhm.
And then yeah, they stayed the next morning. They escorted us up until we got to Monrovia,
Right,
and
and
then
told
they
us where
went
the
back.
bus station was at to get us into Sierra Leone.
And then they went back.
Yep.
So, just to summarize, what
That
have you learned about each other during this traveling?
So we're gonna do it this way. She's gonna say what she learned about me, and then I'll.
Yes, yes, I would love that.
so
It's
specifically
he's
during
listening
our
because Dominic, he's listening. You cannot see him, but he's just, he's just opening his ears.
yeah, specifically during our travels, what I learned about him the most was really that he was for real about me. Like I really learned that he was for real about me. I really learned about his relationship with God and the seriousness of his relationship with Christ and just how much of a God-led person that he is, because like I said, there was a lot of different situations where I kind of took a step back because I wanted to allow him to lead, and seeing him be able to lead me in a way that kept me safe during these times, I literally had to put all my trust in him and in God. And he also would tell me, if you don't trust me, trust God. And so I just saw a different level of him, and that brought me to a different level of respect for him as well.
Wow.
Aw.
David is smiling.
Okay, so for me, what I learned about her was how much of an adventurous person she was. Brave, intelligent. I always told her that her brain. I always told her that the sexiest thing about her to me was her brain, because she had so much knowledge and acumen upstairs. So yeah, and also for the most part, the most thing that I learned about her was that she's very very empathetic and emotional. Sometimes I need to be able to gently remind her that okay, we are going through life. right? We don't have it all figured out, but this is a journey with you and I involved in it, and there's no way I'm backing out, right? And we're in this together. So it's not going to be fun some days, but then again, most of the days it's interesting. So the days that it's not fun, I try to remember that yeah, it's part of the process, right? We take it one day at a time as it comes. And also I learned about her need to be always attached to God, because I felt like I'm this type of person that I know a few about human psychology, and I know how to address people according to how their personalities are. And when I learned her personality, I understood that there was no way she can do life without God, which made it easy for me.
Mm.
So I'm like, okay, as long as I bring her close to God, she will definitely become the best that she can always be.
Yeah, and I also want to kind of just share a small little story because when we got to Ghana, we had our first apartment, and we had this small disagreement about certain things, and we really kind of both were like, okay, did we really do the right thing here? We kind of both was trying to figure out, like, okay, is this right? Did we make the right choice? And we had to really take a step back. And that's when we actually really had to learn the most about each other. Like, we did personality tests, we did the five love languages test.
Wow.
We studied each other, and we did a fast, another fast. We prayed about it. We kind of asked each other different hard questions, that they like, oh, couples questions and stuff like that. So we asked and talked about these different things, and we had to like kind of almost like relearn each other again at that point. So
Mm.
I
Yeah.
like to, I would like to go into details of what happened, but yeah, just to make it fun. So what happened was that we were having this. We were in this apartment that didn't like have room for a kitchen, so we had to like create like a desk and like a type kitchen inside of the apartment, right? So we had these scenarios where I'm the one that know Africa, so I know how to go about the market and go to the market and get things and do the shopping, because whenever she did it, she would always get roped off. Like they would always like charge her extra.
Valuable price. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they would charge her double price for it.
Uh,
Yeah, I just wasn't used to like the housewife like sort of ordeal. I'm a working independent woman, coming from the US, and so,
Hmm.
being at home trying to do the dishes, especially when there's no like I said, we didn't have a sink at the time, like, or a proper kitchen. So having to like wash the dishes in a bucket and all that stuff, it kind of was like something that I already don't want to wash dishes. Okay. I already don't like washing dishes. I don't want to wash dishes now inside bucket.
But yeah, so that on that fateful day, we had made the food. I made the food, so I love to cook. Like for me, I know there are men that be like, oh, they can't be in the kitchen. Their wife has to do the cooking. It's not the case for me because I grew up with a mother that taught me how to cook very well. So I love to cook. I can call myself a chef because I make kind of a lot of cuisines. So yeah, so I made the food and we ate, and she had left the dishes, and I was like, so who's gonna do this? She's like, she don't know, she's not gonna do it. So I'm like, okay, I didn't say anything. She left it there. The next day the other dishes piled up, and the man in me kicked in. I said, okay, I'm not touching those dishes. I'm not gonna go to the market, buy the food, do whatever, spend time cooking it. I come back to wash the dishes. This is marriage. You have to learn in it. So I
that
said I wasn't
that traditional Nigerian man came
two
out real
seconds.
quick.
So we had a conversation and we sat down and I said, look, this is not going to happen, right? I understand that you're an American, you are different, I'm Nigerian, we have our cultures and tradition, but the man in me would not let me wash these dishes. I'm not going to touch that dishes. So whatever is going to happen between you and that dishes is between whatever. I'm not doing it. And we had that reflection. As a matter of fact, we had an argument. And then she went, I stepped outside. I was just sitting
Had
outside.
an argument. It was heated. We had a heated argument.
I said, "Hell no, it's not me, man. I ain't."
And
I,
yeah,
look, it was that point in time. She was like, "Is she sure I married this? Is she sure this man is for her?"
yeah.
Me, I was like, I went outside. I was like, "God, you better talk to your daughter because I'm 2 steps away from changing it." Then,
And what did you
like,
do? What did you do, Dominic?
I mean, I also prayed because I even was complaining about him. And the thing about God is when you come to God about somebody else, he gonna be like, okay, but what did you do?
Mm.
What part did you play? And so that's exactly
Mm.
what he did. And he gave it to me like, okay, daughter, you're a wife. What does it mean to be a wife? And, certain things. And, he just was ministering to me about what I needed to do and what I did wrong. And so we both came together after that. My husband, he, no matter what, he does not like to go to sleep mad. So even if I might need a day or two. But he doesn't like to
Mhm.
go to sleep mad. And so that night, we talked about it and I told him what I had heard from God. I told him what I heard from God. And I just was like, okay, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I understand where you're coming from. And how can we move forward? He also apologized for his own part and, things that he did. And so from there, that's when we were like, okay, we really need to really understand each other's personalities on a
Exactly.
different level from what we think we know. And that's what led us to do the personality test. We did a fast together because we were like, whatever negativity that's trying to come in between this marriage, because yeah, we could have had an argument, but to now start thinking like, oh, is this the man that God has for me? Did I make a mistake when God told both of us that this was the person that we were going to marry? That right there is attack of the enemy on the mind. So we decided
Mhm.
to do a fast. And during the fast we were like, okay, now we're going to really hone in on who God made you, how God made you, what personality type he gave you, your love language and different things. And yeah, we kind of just
That's
went through that whole part.
amazing.
We took all the tests.
But I'm
mhm.
just thinking from your perspective, David, like you got yourself an independent, strong woman from the USA. How did it sit with you in the beginning?
In the beginning, it was kind of rough because because
I can only imagine, eh?
right, because I'm used to the normal submissive, gentle Nigerian type woman that whatever you say is law and order, but now you are with somebody that is going to tell you no to your face, sir, respectfully, I'm not doing it, and all that. But I would say with the type of man that I am, it would have only taken a woman like her to be able to hold me down because
Mm.
I'm the type of man that I I get easily tired sometimes when the woman is a yes woman. I like a little stubborn woman, a woman that would spice the thing up for me.
I
So
think she's blushing now. Yeah.
seeing the way she was, I didn't let her know that it was interesting to me, but I would act serious, like what's the meaning of what's wrong? But in my mind, I'll be like, okay. But yeah, and it became fun as time went on, and then learning each other on in the process. She got to appreciate the man I was, and I got to appreciate the way she was, knowing that we were in it for the best interest of both of us. It's not the
Yeah.
one-sided type of scenario. We are in it to build together. To make sure that we
Together.
both do life
Mm.
together. So yeah, that was what it is for me.
What about you, Dominic? You mentioned you had long distance relationships before. So how David was different from the man you dated before?
So like I said, at that time I was just growing my relationship with Christ. And so I was having a full understanding of how Christ saw me and how God loved me unconditionally and the unconditional love of God. And he was the first man that I had ever experienced that gave me a love that looked like Christ's love for me. And it was just so different for me because he really accepted me for all of my insecurities, all of my flaws, all of my, attitude and everything, sometimes I can be very like what's the word I'm looking for? I overthink a lot. And so he didn't mind, he was able to like bring me down, like okay, just relax. But
Wow.
also still love me, and I'd be like, okay, you're a little crazy, and so he just loved me through it all, and he never once like brought anything up about my past. He never once like, you know, he didn't like take things against me or anything like that. He just really showed me what unconditional love really looks like. And yeah.
Now I think now David is blushing. Yeah. So how do you? Okay, we are now. Love is in the air. But what about fighting? Like, how do you guys solve the challenges, solve the problems that you come across? Do you have any
Prayer.
specific system or?
So, first she said prayer. Yeah, we prayed about it individually, but
Mhm.
one of my biggest um thing or my biggest note on my book is that whenever we have disagreements, we individually both are not the issue, right? There is an issue that needs to be resolved, and the issue is there, and we both are here. So whenever we cannot come to terms of agreement on that issue, we leave the issue aside and then go on with our marriage and go on with life. And whenever we feel like we have the mental capacity to address that issue, we come back again and go through that issue.
Yeah.
But we don't allow any issue get to the point where it disrupts our flow with each other. Like something will not happen to the point where I can't talk to you, or I can't come to you to ask you a question, or I can't come to you. So if you need a minute, it's okay. If I need a minute, I'll tell her, just give me some time. I I need a minute to think. When she needs some time to, she'll be like, "Oh, give me a minute, please.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk right now."
So the
So
open
the issue,
communication.
yeah,
Okay.
the issue was not us. The issue was the issue that needed to be addressed.
Yeah.
So yes, we still go on with us, and if we cannot address the issue, then we go on with us, and then come back to it when it's necessary, when we have to like talk about it. But then again, communication, like she said, and giving each other space to process things, like, because we are humans, regardless of us being married and stuff, we still have our individual
Mm.
needs and characters. We need sometimes you need some space to be able to to breathe, because you can't just have somebody in your space every minute, 24 hours of the day. It gets tiring too, so you need to learn to give each other some space, especially when there's conflict. You need that space to think things through, right? But
Especially
not
coming from different
right,
cultures.
right, but not space to the point where it now grows into resentment. That no space to the point where I cannot come and cuddle with or touch her like, what's wrong with you? Forget about this thing.
What are the biggest cultural differences that you have recognized in each other's?
I think for me at first it was the very traditionalism. I would consider myself to be a traditional person when it comes to marriage. Like um I believed in like, the husband has his role, the wife has her role, and I believed in that sort of thing, but I had never experienced it because my parents were never married, and I, of course, had never been married. So I had never experienced it firsthand. So when I finally experienced it firsthand with my husband, then it was kind of like, oh, okay, wait, maybe I'm not as traditional as as I think I am. So that was the biggest thing for me, and I had to really kind of learn what it meant to be a wife, a biblical wife, and specifically
Mhm.
a Nigerian wife.
Hmm. I think there is to be a Nigerian wife, there is a certain, I would say, it is a pressure in a way because you have to perform, and there is
Mhm.
so many people watching you. Some people
Mhm.
wish you well, some people don't wish you well. So yeah, some people want you to succeed, some not.
Yeah,
So yeah, I understand what you mean. But apparently, you've been doing very well.
thank you.
Yes, she's been doing
I
amazing.
mean, I can see it in his eyes. I don't know, but I can see it in him.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. For me, the biggest culture shock would be would I think it would be the level of should I say maturity, or the level of like advancement in how or the systems are out here, and the level of freedom that the American people like have in life general. Because coming from a country where you are limited to a large extent, you have freedom, but not as much as the Americans like have
Mm,
freedom and access to a lot of things. Yeah, was that the way the American people don't have like roots to tribes, roots to their cultures, and all that disconnect from all that was the biggest for me. And then the sexuality of different people's, your ability to be able to coexist with people, that are not the same with you and the way you see life, but still converse with them and not see them like crazy, or not see them like different,
Mhm.
but just live with them the way they are.
mm.
That was what it was for me. But I felt like I
As far as you come to the U.S., that's the
yeah,
culture shock you experience.
yeah.
Okay.
As far as coming to the US, that's like the things like I've
Because
experienced.
I want to remind, I mean, for those who don't know that this is like if you are a lesbian or a gay or any, any
Mhm.
different sexuality, you
Yeah,
will be jailed in Nigeria.
yeah.
So it is
Mhm.
Some
forbidden
places
by
in
law.
Africa too, you can even be killed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
Mhm.
that's the reason why David is to him it
Yeah.
was just like how come that someone can be so open about it, actually showing his happiness about it, being just over
Mhm.
there, just no hiding, nothing, just
Right,
Right.
being
all up in your
yeah,
face with it, and there's nothing you can do about it,
Right.
exactly.
But then again, even being back in Nigeria, I wasn't too stereotyped about people's whatever they have going on.
Mm,
Just don't bring it close to me. That's fine with me. But if something that you're the way you are, it
mhm,
wasn't a problem. It was not something that would make me see anybody like any type differently. And even
mm,
in my job, which is funny because I where I work, I see a lot of it. But I talk with them, I have a conversation with them, see them like regular people. There's no way that conversation is coming in with their sexuality, whatever, because that's private. I don't want to, dig into people's privacy. Neither do I want them to be all up in my privacy either. So yeah, we
mhm.
keep it professional, keep it in a cordial conversation and relationship. And everybody is happy, nobody, I don't see anybody different or anything.
So you have learned actually like to be more open and accepting because in Nigeria, Nigeria, I love Nigeria with all of my heart, but you people they are judgmental, eh? It's like
Yeah, I can
immediately you
agree with
go
that.
out of your house, even in your house, they will be judging you. But
Mhm.
immediately
True.
you step out, you are like and everyone is entitled to his or her opinion.
Yeah.
So
Right. I know, and trust me, I know what it's like. In fact, it's funny hearing it from you that I've come to experience it to yourself.
Ah, yeah. Now we've been talking about you guys traveling, and then you went back to Nigeria. And I think thanks to your mom, I mean, thanks to you, David, but also I would say thanks to your mom, the Dominic got pregnant.
Yeah. It was definitely that prayer for her. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
family.
definitely.
Let's call it a family effort. Yes.
Mhm.
So, so then, after how long, like since you traveled, you were in Nigeria, and after how long of staying in Nigeria, you went back to the US?
Um I was like 3 months pregnant when I went back because I started missing American food and I wasn't able to find exactly what I was looking for. Um, like, okay, I would be craving like some barbecue chicken wings, or I love macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese is one of my favorites. And I would be craving like mac and cheese. Mind you, I also was looking at social media and looking at all the food pages, so that didn't help at all.
Mm.
But I was looking, wanting these different things, and I was able to somewhat find them in certain places, like there's what's that place, Black Bell or
Black belt.
Black Belt. They have mac and cheese,
Yeah.
and there was some place that have wings, but it just wasn't like it wasn't hitting the way that I needed it to hit. And there was even this one time when we went to this place that had chicken wings on the menu, but when we went there, there was no wings. They said there were no wings. And so I said I had to
Oh.
settle for a burger. And then the burger was like not even great. And I just cried. I cried. I
Mm.
was
Imagine.
I cried. And so after that, I was just like, you know what? I gotta go home. I gotta, I just was starting to feel uncomfortable. I'm not even gonna lie. I was starting to feel
Mm.
uncomfortable because I wanted the food, I wanted the comfort food I was craving. It was my first time being pregnant. So I wanted to be, with my family, with my
Mm.
mom and my sisters. And also it was hot. I was dealing with the heat and
Mm.
all that. It was just a lot for me to kind of deal with. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and leave now. Go ahead and I
Mhm.
also had access to different healthcare over here in the
Yeah, yeah,
US. So
definitely.
I just decided to go ahead and leave early. And then when I was 8 months, I was able to travel back to Nigeria, and I stayed for about, what was it, like a month?
Like a month. Yeah, a month
No,
to
I
some
was,
days.
yeah, I was coming up on 8 months. Basically, it was like right before I was no longer able to travel. So
It was
somewhere
seven
in
months,
7 months,
somewhere
and I
between 7 months.
stayed until I was about 8 months, and then I went back. And had our daughter. We had our daughter, yeah.
Wow. So it means that David didn't see the. I mean, I mean, were you able to travel back with Dominic to the US
No,
or?
no, I wasn't able to travel at that time. I didn't have a visa to the US at that
Oh my
time. So
goodness. So it means that you, Dominic, that you were there, you had to deliver, alone and so on, and David was not able to see your daughter.
Yeah, he did get to see her via video call. The hospital was very nice. They allowed us to do a video call, and so he was able to see it like
so I was on
the
live.
whole time.
I was on live watching the whole process.
Yeah, on like
Yeah.
WhatsApp video call. Like
Yeah, I
he
was
he so
watching
he
everything.
saw the whole thing. He experienced the whole thing. Um I also videotaped it, and I vlogged it basically on my YouTube channel. So
That we will
I have,
put the YouTube channel, yeah, in the description. But
yeah.
for those who want to watch it,
Mhm.
but for you, David, what was the feeling like when you saw Dominic being there alone, and
I
like
was I
you not being
was
able to be with her and just watching everything online?
I was in pains, to be very honest. I was in pains
Mhm.
because that was my first child baby. And I I was emotional, but then again I had to be strong about it. I had to give her all the strength and support that she needed, because if I was showing how emotional I was, she would have
Mhm.
been more broken too. So, I was happy that my baby was born. I was happy. I wasn't there, but I was happy. Trust me, I was happy. I was though emotional, but yes, happy. I
Mhm.
I had the community. I have my when I was with my parents at that time, so we had like a celebration when she was born. We celebrated it back in Nigeria, even without them being there. Yeah, we the 7th day we did a naming
Naming
ceremony,
ceremony, yeah.
and they
Mhm.
were on video call. They named my parents, we named the baby. My parents gave the baby the names we wanted. But yeah, we had a good family, like community, that was around to help me through that process. And yeah, I
So
feel
when
like
was the first time that you saw your daughter?
And the first time I saw her was a year after, a year and a couple of days. So she was born on the
Oh,
26th of July. And the first time I saw her was like on the 15th of August, a year later. So
Mhm.
it was a year and a month later.
Mhm.
But yeah, when I first
That's when we
saw her,
went to
that was
Rwanda.
when we went to Rwanda.
Yeah.
So when I first saw her, oh my God, I couldn't just let go of her all day. Like
so
we
you
bonded
saw her in Rwanda for the first time?
for the first
Yeah.
time. Yes, that was when we met
My
at the airport.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
But
the first time.
was it like how is it like for a man emotionally? Because I know that Naija men don't talk about emotions. I know, but now you are a little bit American also, so we can talk about it. So emotionally, how did you handle it? Being far away from Dominique and knowing that she's there, of course, with the family, but you are not there, and your firstborn, you didn't even see her yet. Just
Emotionally, I would say the best thing I could do was because we had an apartment back in Lagos, and we were living in that apartment together. But when she left and had my daughter in the US, and it was boring for me in the apartment, I had to move back to my parents' house because my parents were quite old. My father was 84 at that time, or 80, 85, 84 at that time, and my mother she's in her 70s. So yeah, I had to move back to go take care of them, to go look out for them, and then I had to work from home in their house because I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be in a place where I would feel too emotional and too I would like be lonely
Yeah.
basically.
And it kept him occupied.
And so being with my parents kept me occupied. Emotionally, I was always on the phone with them. Like times whenever I got off work or whatever I was doing, I would always spend like the morning. So we had a routine. When they wake up, we start the day together. I stay with them to when it's about 12 o'clock American time, and then I give her time to rest, do other things. Whenever it's like let's say at about 6 o'clock again in the evening, nighttime our time, she calls me. Midnight. I'll wake up whenever
About to go to sleep.
she's about to go to sleep. We'll talk, and my daughter, we started talking on phone every single day. Like she knew it was daddy on the phone, so she always was
mm,
anticipating my call, anticipating us talking. So yeah, it was, I was able to handle it because of the type of community I had. But some days was hard.
Yeah.
I wouldn't lie about that part. Some days was hard. Some days I felt broken. I felt down. Some days I needed to just be around them. I wanted to just hold them, hold
mm.
them. But the whole weight was worth it when we eventually got back together.
Mm.
Yeah, the whole
What
weight.
about you, Dominic? To because after the delivery, there's a lot of hormones, there's a lot of pain, a
It
lot of
was very hard
frustration,
for
lack
me.
of sleep. How did you manage?
It was very hard for me. I cried a lot. That's how I managed.
Mm.
I cried a lot.
I can
Um,
imagine.
yeah, I really had to hone in on just being in Christ and honing on my faith. And therapy also helped. I started seeing
Mm.
a therapist during that time because it was definitely taking a toll on me. Even to the point where some days I wouldn't be able to work. Like I was working from home
Mm.
at the time, and it was just a lot because I was working from home. I was, first time mom, and I had my baby, and so it was hard trying to juggle that even with me being at home, even with it being a at home job. And while I did have my family, my family actually did a mugwo.
Mhm.
Yeah, they actually did well for me. So my niece came and stayed with me for like a month or so after giving birth, and so my family was very, very supportive of me during that period. But then everybody got to go to back to work. We live in America,
Mm. Life
so
continues. Yeah, the bills need to be paid, of course.
yeah, so everybody had to go back to work, and so even including myself, and so it kind of took a toll on me. And then also I was really devastated too, because like I said, my parents weren't married, and so I grew up without my father in the home, and I didn't want my daughter to experience that. And I knew she wouldn't experience that because I'm married to her father, right? And I knew that our situation was only temporary. But when you have extra time, so does the enemy. And he had extra time to, really play with my mind. And, it just really took a toll on me. And I just had to try to navigate it the best way that I could. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just and but that's the reason that we even were like, look, we got to do something. Because we didn't know, like, based on the immigration process of where we were at, it still was another 2 years after that the immigration process even happened. And so we were like, nah, we can't let our marriage depend on this immigration,
True.
this relationship in
Mm.
our
Yeah,
marriage
yeah.
and this relationship with your daughter. Like, we can't leave it all to them. um and so we just kind of made a decision to figure out which country would be the easiest for us to live in. Um, yeah, while we tried to figure it out and try to go through the immigration process.
So how long did you guys live in Rwanda?
We lived in Rwanda for 6 months.
So
Mm-hmm.
about 7 months.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
And
about
then
7 months.
what happened next?
So we got to Rwanda. We were living there. We got our visas. We were about to start a business, or we had even started working and doing some work in the country. And I found out I was pregnant with my son. And so we were trying to figure out what was going to be our next step, if we were going to be able to have him in Rwanda or if we were going to just
Mm.
go back home and stuff. And um in Rwanda, is I wanted to do like a home birth, and in Rwanda is actually illegal to give birth at
Yes,
home.
yes.
And I wanted to do a water birth. And so it was illegal. We just decided that it would just be best for us to just go ahead and go back home. He go back to Nigeria's, because he also had to prepare. I think actually what ended up happening is, right before we decided to leave, he got the date for his interview or something.
Mm.
He had got a
Okay.
date for something, and he needed to go back to Nigeria to prepare for it. And so it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of worked out. He went back to Nigeria, was getting all his documents together, and then I went back to the US and was preparing for birth for my son.
So how was the second birth? So it means that David, you were not there as well
No, I wasn't there as well.
when your son was born. Oh my
Yeah.
I wasn't
goodness.
there as well.
And this time around, I don't think they didn't allow you to be on the phone or something.
No, this
Or
time around they didn't allow me to be on the phone. Yeah,
right, yeah.
this particular set of doctors was
Because
like,
we were at a different hospital. We had to go to a different
Mm.
hospital.
yeah,
Because by the time I came back, I was already 6 months.
yeah.
Yeah, I was already 6 months pregnant. And so because I didn't really have too much of, in the US, they have, you have to have so many different appointments and all this stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that
Yes, I
for.
know.
And so because I didn't have those required appointments, I had to go to a different hospital, and because I was so late in my pregnancy already. And
Mm-hmm.
so we ended up having to go to a different hospital. They didn't allow him to be on the phone at that particular hospital. So that already was uh something that was like, okay, it already was like a block, to try to kind of get over emotionally.
Mhm.
And then we
That
had
day, that
him.
day, I was just panting. I was just going. I was walking up and down my road,
Yeah.
just
Mm-hmm.
walking
I can
everywhere.
imagine.
Yeah. And especially with it being his first son, Nigerian,
Mm.
their first son is also a very big deal,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Of course.
it was another very emotional situation. I feel like with our son's birth, it was even a heightened emotion because, like, he wasn't able to even participate at all a little bit, even a little bit. With our daughter, he at least he was able to be on
Mm-hmm.
the phone with me. My sister literally held the phone next to me the whole time. So it was almost like he was there,
You were there.
but it
Mhm.
wasn't like that with my son. So that was definitely emotional period. And then yeah, I think it was like right after that you had your interview.
Yeah, it was almost right after that.
Yeah, right after I gave birth, he had his interview.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how long after the birth you were able to move to the US?
which was about 6 months,
Yeah.
6 months after the birth. So right after that, I was given an interview date because so when they give you an interview date, it's almost like 3 months wait time.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the interview date, went for the interview, then you wait another like couple of weeks, like 2 weeks after you get the visa. So yeah, all that process was like 6 months, and after that, she came into the
Yeah,
US.
he got
I came in like
approved.
5 months before.
Yeah, Giddy was 5 months.
Yeah, it was 5 months.
So because he came in December. He had
Mm-hmm.
his visa appointment, he got approved, and then he was on his way to us in December. And he came over in December of
So
of
you've been in the
last
US,
year.
yeah, last year, exactly. So it's been so in December in 1.5 months it will be a 1 year in the
Yeah.
US. So
Almost, yeah.
so David, how can you somehow summarize this 1 year of you? Because as we know, 99.9 Nigerians want to Japa, and the US is number one
I
or
know.
two on their list. So please
Mhm.
So for
share with
me,
us your first year experience.
I know a lot of Nigerians want to leave or jackpot from Nigeria, but I was never that Nigerian that was particular about being in the US. Like, as much as people were like, "Oh, you're married to an American, yes, you should definitely apply, come to the US or travel to the US, go to the US." Being in the US was not really, really my goal. I just wanted to be comfortable in life. I wanted to be able to take care of my family. And if being in Nigeria was what I had to do to make that happen, I would have comfortably been in Nigeria. I wasn't stressing, I wasn't like struggling in Nigeria. I had my things all figured out in Nigeria. However, but coming to the US made me see life differently, like made me see the opportunities that were here that could
Thank
really like
you.
help you, navigate life in a more with more better opportunities on hand. The first 6 months I wasn't working. She was doing
Mm,
all the works for us, by herself. And that was like a struggle for me being a Nigerian man, because we don't like to see
mm.
our women do too
You
much.
cannot provide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't sitting down with me at all. So I found myself in a place where I was always telling her that, look, we need to do something about this, but still it was not really our fault. It was a situation of us going back and forth with the papers. We were waiting for the green card to come, and yeah, without a green card I would not have been able to work just yet, although I would have been
Mhm.
able to use my passport, but that was not going to be enough. So yeah, so
Yeah,
then
because we had to wait on your social and all that
yeah,
stuff like
we
that.
had to
And
wait on my
so
social security and
I still
everything.
needed to work.
So when my
Mhm.
socials came, when the green card came, and yeah, we moved from South Carolina to Atlanta, and then I got a job, and yeah, it's been a little bit more stable now, being able to
Okay.
provide for the family. It's a lot going out and coming back every day, especially with the way America is set up. You will have less time to spend with your family. Like I only have 2 days in a week. I have Wednesday and Thursday
Yeah, so
off.
I really appreciate that you were able to have this interview because I can see you are tired. So
Hmm.
it's your first day to rest. So I know when I spoke with Dominic. So thank
Yeah,
you for your
yeah,
time.
yeah. No, no, yeah, no, no, no problem. Absolutely. So yeah, being able to rest, shuffle between resting and spending time with family, and then you have kids. I work from 2 p.m. to 11 in the night. When I get back
Mm.
home, I just want to hop in the
Sleep.
bed and sleep. And
Mm.
then the kids have you awake like 7 in the morning. You're not able to sleep as much as you want to. So go through that process again, go back to work, continue the day. It can be a lot, but then again, being a man, see my father be this man to us all his years made me or helped me prepare myself for the man I want to be for my kids and for my wife. So it's not a struggle for me. It's a
Healthy.
sacrifice I'm willing to take over and over and over again. So
Amen to that. So, guys, I can see that the kids really want to have the parents back. So, I would just ask the last question, and then if we can go to the quiz, we will start from Dominic. So, what is your piece of advice for other Black American women that want to get married to Nigerian men?
Um, my advice is to go for it prayerfully. You definitely want to be smart about the situation. Listen to your gut. If your gut is telling you that something is off, then something may just be off. Um, but you also have to get rid of the noise. Don't listen to what everybody else is saying. Influences from friends and family. If it really is love, um, but also you have to work on yourself too, because there's a lot of things that entails being married to a Nigerian man. We talked about the traditionalism and all this stuff like that. And, you can't really go into it with this independent woman mindset because it's just not going to fly. That's not how Nigerian men operate. And so you really have to work on yourself. You have to heal yourself,
Mm.
and really know yourself as well. Yeah.
Mm. What about you, David? Your piece of advice on if a Nigerian wants to be with the Black American woman?
my piece of advice would be honest, be as honest as possible, because the notion about Nigerian men to Americans, a lot of us, a lot of our people has painted the wrong picture about the men that we are. Because I do understand that yes, some in the good eggs, you know, some are bad too. But then again, for the ones that would watch this, I would advise that you be as honest as you can be as open-minded as you can be, because at the end of the day, it's not everybody that is supposed to marry an American woman. What you should be more focused on is marrying a woman that is for you, right? And if she's not American, that's fine too. However, if she's American, be as honest as you can be, be as plain as you can be, and don't make it seem like the head of the house is a title that you wear around everywhere, because it's marriage is it's you coexist together, you cohabit together. So you should be able to allow the woman do things when things require that she takes the boat to. Sometimes give her room to to not like lead, let's I would say like lead, give her room to do things that she can do to make it work. Give her room to to be a woman, to walk into her potential, into her femininity. And for the most part, the one thing I would say is that intercultural relationship is the way to go.
Yeah.
I really don't know why people are sleeping on this. See, for real though, I really don't know why people are sleeping on this. But I do have a strong feeling that for the next generation of Nigerians and Black Americans or Americans to be able to um, win the culture into the system back is to have intercultural relationship, because a Nigerian man that is rooted in his purpose, has tribe, has culture, can be able to bring that back into the society as the father and the head of the house. And an American woman that that is smart, intelligent, that is loyal, submissive, all that, can be able to take what the Nigerian man is bringing and build it into something beautiful. Same as a European woman too that has that same mentality. So I
Mhm.
feel like intercultural relationships can really thrive beautifully if both people are intentional and both people are honest with each other on all playing fields. It's not dishonesty cannot work in this thing. Yeah, and taking God away from the picture, it's almost
Mhm.
dead on arrival. Like taking God away from the picture makes it dead on arrival. Like I feel like most marriages that break up is because God's not the foundation of that union. So you guys should learn to hold on to God. I know some people have their own practices, their own faith. I'm not trying to sway anybody's faith or change whatever faith you have. Whatever you believe in is cool and fine, but just make sure that you center it around your creator, and everything
Mhm.
will
Amen to that. Uh, Thank you so much for this.
Now, why would you?
Yeah, thank you so much for this time that you spend with us. So I think that next time I will bring the quiz back to the beginning because now we are all tired. But I will just please ask you for 5 more minutes. So we have 4 questions
Okay.
for each of you. So who are we going to start from?
ladies first.
So the Nigerian
You went
man.
first. No, I went first the
No
last time.
wahala. No wahala. Don't cheat.
Madam first.
No, I
I'm
like
with you on this.
it.
So, okay, we're going to start from food. So, in Urobo culture, there is a famous traditional soup made from the pulp of the
Thank
palm
soup.
nut fruit. You
Thank
see?
soup. That one now is
Yes.
my favorite.
See, I will double your points for the fact that you were first. Yes. Yeah, you were supposed to get one. No, now we are getting two. David, you've missed. Yeah. The opportunity. Yes. That's good. Number two, the question is about the in-laws. So, how, if you want to give the respect to David's parents, how do you greet them when you see them in the
Miqua.
morning, for example?
I said
Yes,
Miqua.
and that's yes, exactly. So it means I'm kneeling, as we spoke before. So that's also I'm doubling again. So it's like now you have 4 points. And then the third one is about rituals and traditions. So during the traditional Urobo wedding, the bride is given a cup of palm wine by her father and is told to do something very specific with it. What is her task?
To find her husband, Ali. Find her.
Yes, find the husband. Very good. Yes, and what to do with the cup?
She should give it to him.
Very good. Wow. I think this very good.
You are
Very
doing
good.
well.
Nah,
You are
I'm a
doing well.
rebel, babe. You don't
You are
know.
Wow,
doing well. You are
I'm
doing
impressed. I'm impressed. Okay, so the last one is about the proverbs. So I will not try this time around to say it in Orobo language, but I will say it in English.
Mhm.
A child that says his mother will not sleep, he too
Eh,
will not sleep.
yes. Oh my gosh, he says this all the time.
well.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But me, I cannot. I cannot speak robot like that. So
No, no, I don't want you to do it. Just the way you understand it.
oh yeah. So say a child who no one agreed to let his papa sleep.
The cure no one
A
lets
child
us
that
sleep.
says his mother will not sleep, he too will
Mhm.
not sleep.
Yeah.
Yes. So whenever my husband says it, is when these my children have kept him up all night or something like that. So now he will now go and wake the child or disturb the child.
Exactly. 2 points. So you see, yeah. So it's 8 points. I don't know, David, how are you going to beat her now because it's your turn? But
It's,
this
it's,
woman,
it's all right. I'll try.
yeah, at least you can try. Yes. So yeah. So the first question: you are invited to an American party or the barbecue, and the invitation says BYOB. What does this mean?
BYOB. Wait, BYOB. Be
Dominic, you
on.
are you are allowed to give him some hints.
Bring your own.
Bring your own drink. Bring
Yes,
your own.
but
BOB.
Bring your own bottle.
yeah.
Bring your own bottle. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Bring your own bottle. Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
Dominic, are we going to give him points for it or half a point or
Let's
this
give him half a point. This
half
my
a
sister
point?
does this all the time now.
No wahala. Okay. So the number 2 question about the food: what is the most classic American sandwich, famously packed in the children's school lunchbox? It's called
Um,
PB&J, is it?
Peanut butter and jelly.
Oh, yes. Okay. I think
Peanut
I gave you a hint now. Okay. Very
butter and
good guess.
jelly. Back to the food
1
sandwich.
point.
We
Very
ate those
well.
on Legos. When we said
Yeah.
Legos, that was our favorite. That was almost like our favorite thing to eat. PB&J.
Oh, see? Oh my goodness. So it seems like this interview was meant to happen.
Yeah.
Number 3. Number 3 question. So on the American holiday, the 4th of July, the Independence Day, what is the primary way families and cities celebrate it in the evening?
They sit down and do fireworks, dance party, barbecue, you
Exactly.
know,
Yeah,
barbecue
very good.
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The last time it was a grill party, man. It was
Yeah.
all grills. I was in the grill all day because of
Very good. I can see you've been integrating very well into the culture, and the same goes for
Mhm,
Dominic. Yeah.
mhm.
And the last question is about the American proverb. So the proverb is pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Bootstraps. So again, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. What does it mean? What is the core cultural value that this saying promotes?
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. The core cultural value is be ready for anything. I'll say
Get it done.
just get it done. On the promise and over deliver. You know, get it done. Do it like no one else can ever do it.
Yes. And I think the most important is that you do have to do it by your bootstraps. So you have to do it without your family. You have to do it by yourself.
Do it by yourself. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
Dominic, can we give half a point or 1 point?
You can give him that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let it. This 1 point goes to David then. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give him that one.
I almost got half a point on everything.
But it's right, no? So please.
It's
So
You did
normally,
good. You did
yeah, you
good.
both guys did so well. I'm really impressed. We are all here to learn as well from each other. So thank you.
Mhm.
So normally I do it in a way that, for example, if Dominic doesn't like to do dishes and she won, so we beg you, this your online in-laws to do the dishes for Dominic, and so she can rest.
Okay,
What?
no problem, no problem.
No
I got you.
problem. No problem. Okay,
Ah,
so
my sister. Thank
I
you.
got you. I got you.
Dominic
No
is
problem.
gonna send me a DM. So we will click on that.
I got you. No, when I don't set me up, no
So,
shaking,
guys,
no
I know
shaking.
that the kids are waiting. Thank you so much that you took us through your life journey. It was so exciting. I had the goosebumps. I had tears in my eyes. It's like a lot of emotions through this
Yeah.
interview. So I really appreciate that. I feel that you guys are good people to have party with. So
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
so I will let you know once we are in Atlanta. Definitely, I'm so impressed by your strength, by your faith, by everything that you have done together. We can see the clear like unity here, the synergy here. So I think that once David is there in the US, maybe the third child is also coming soon. I don't know if this. I have this feeling from this interview.
Ah.
Hey. Anyway, I'll
I'm not
take it.
saying it's my wife.
I'll take it.
Maybe you work for some time, David. No, we want you to work for some time. So then, yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Give
Yes,
us some time.
give us some
yes,
to
yes,
work out. I could take
yes.
no fear.
But I have a feeling that many people will be inspired by your story and by Dominic falling in love with the Nigerian man from Delta State, and after 6 months, marrying him.
Yeah.
If you want to watch their story on YouTube or on IG, we will put them down there under the description. And thank you. I really appreciate you guys, and it was a great pleasure to get to know you.